Not everybody likes them, but they don't care.
Hi, I'm Carl Bates of BBC and Millwall iFollow. You're about to listen to Millwall's No One Likes Us Talking. Eamonn Barclay talking with my good friend and co-commentator at the Den, former Millwall captain and legend Les Briley, talking about his life in football. This is the third and final episode, and it starts with a call to the manager's office, then a move to Brighton and Hove Albion, before the end of playing football for Les with Slough Town. But it does not end there. He starts his own business and returns to work with Millwall, where he continues to this day. Enjoy.
Well, we've left Tenerife, as we spoke about last week, and you're heading towards a season back in the Championship, Les.
It was obviously Bruce's first full season in charge, and it recruited one or two players, which was quite useful. Alex Ray had come in and turned out to be a very good player for the club. They got him from Scotland, obviously. And the players, they was in an okay mood. They was all right, but things were starting to go wrong when Bruce had taken over, because he was such a dominant person, and if you like, he was a bit of a bully as regards what he wanted. He always wanted his way, never bend or go for what the players wanted. It was always no, me. And that was difficult to live with, and he was playing me out of position, and I wasn't happy. I was playing out on the left wing, which, as you know, I can get about the pitch, but I've not got great pace, and delivery's not bad, or it weren't bad. So he was playing me out of position. I went and see him and knocked on the door, said, look, I'm not quite happy with where you're playing me. And he said, well, he said, I've got Gary Waddett, he said, and Alex Ray in centre mid, he said. And I said, look, I understand. I said, if you just want me to be a sub and come on and do a little bit every now and again, then I'm quite happy with that. And the conversation, it wasn't great. And I could feel and sense that he was kind of easing me out the door because of the situation that I'd had, where I'd had to call the PFA in over Nicky and Sean Sparham's contracts.
Yeah.
So he obviously wasn't happy. So yeah, it was kind of like, I was looking at it and I was thinking, this could be the end. I think he's got grumpy with me. And then I get a phone call one day, and it's Bruce, and he says, why don't you come see me tomorrow? And I thought, right, this is it. So I went in the next day in the office, and he said to me, I'm paying up your contract. I had the rest of the season left. There was some money in the contract. He said, I'm going to pay you up everything, every penny, which, was kind of half a surprise, but yeah. I was kind of half expecting it, but not, if you know what I mean. I was quite happy to see the season out. Yeah. And then, so that was quite blatantly it. I was at the ground. And to be fair, I mean, the chairman, Mr. Burr, he sent me a lovely letter from the club, thanking me for everything that I'd done. And that was it. It was over within sort of a conversation. It was all over. It was quite a shock, actually, to the system. But as I say, with all what had been going on, the team, the boys weren't happy, and he had to get his own team, if you like, and build his own team, a bit like probably Gary Rowett's going to do now with Millwall. So he wanted his own team, he wanted his own players, and it was quite a shock to one or two that were still at the club. But I'd been fighting for everything for the players that I could. But it wasn't like dealing with John. John was a different kettle of fish. John would bend. He would give me this, let me do that, Bruce was dead straight no. Everything I wanted was no. Everything the players wanted, no. It's my way. This is that. You're not doing this. You're not doing that. And I didn't think it was, I didn't think it was right for the players. And in the end, said my goodbyes, and it kind of burst your bubble, if you like. You know, we having a go of trying to get back up again, but that was it. It was just sort of like all gone in 60 seconds, and the phone rings. The phone rings, and it doesn't happen very often when you're coming to the end of your career. And the phone rings, and it's Barry Lloyd from Brighton.
Yeah.
Who's a personal friend. We played together at Hereford United, Lloydie, and I looked after him when he came up to Hereford. Although I was only 19, how could I look after Lloydie? Lloydie was, a seasoned player for Fulham, and we got him like a house on fire. He was brilliant. He was absolutely different class, Barry Lloyd. He said to me, "Come and have a chat." He said, "We'll have a coffee and have a chat about, maybe I could give you a year." And he ended up giving me a year and a year option, which obviously the club, they decide that. So there was a 1 year contract with a 1 year option that they either take it up or they don't. And that was it. It was all so quick, and everything had happened so quickly. And saying goodbye wasn't easy. I just walked in and said, "Chaps, I'm going. See you later," and thanked everybody for what they'd done, and that they got to keep going and keep fighting for the club, because it's a great club, and for themselves, their own personal careers. I'd looked after a lot of them and seen them. A lot of them come through the ranks as kids in my time at being there.
Yeah.
And done very well. The likes of David Thompson, Alan Dowson, Nicky and Sean, and I'd seen them come through the ranks, kind of thing, and brought them along with me. So it was quite a shock, and but you just these things happen, and you've got to move on. And in the last part of my career, and I knew I was getting to the end. I knew it was coming to the stage where maybe you'll just go on and sit and play in the midfield, and because your legs can't get you around, but you can still play on the ball. And I knew that was coming, and you either drop, or you just give up and stop.
Yes.
But yeah, so I thought, well, go on, we'll have a year at Brighton. And to be fair, they was absolutely brilliant. They was really good to me. Lloydie used to ring me up and he'd say, "What day are you coming in this week? I only want you to do 2 days this week or 3 days this week." I never did a full week. He appreciated that my fitness, and was, you don't, when you get to that stage, you don't need to train every day.
No.
Your body's burning out, your legs are going, so there's no point in sort of hammering yourself into the ground. And they were a nice club. It was lovely. And Lloydie, after we played about 3 or 4 games, and he pulled me in and said to me, "What do you think?" I said, "Well," "I'll be honest with you, Val," I said, "I think it's like Butlins." I said, it's brilliant. I said, "It's absolutely brilliant." I said, "You treated me fantastically. We go away on the coach, and everybody has a good time, and it's a very friendly place." And I said, "To be honest, it's a lovely atmosphere." I said, "It's probably too nice." I said, but he was a good manager, Lloydie, and he could see that I could do a job and just sit and play for him in there. And we did okay. We had an okay season. It wasn't nothing great. And then the second year came, and they hadn't renewed my second contract clause, so it was time to move along again. And I think Barry had left the club as well, so he left, I left.
Yeah.
But it was a lovely year, you know. I mean, I don't live that far from Brighton anyway.
No.
So it was only an hour's journey, hour and a half top, if you got caught in traffic. But yeah, lovely time and a lovely place and lovely club, lovely people. But you know, looking back, the best days was without shadow. Millwall was the best, without shadow, and you know, the way I got treated by the club was fantastic as well. So the last two clubs were really good to me. In fact, to be fair, all my time in the football world has been magnificent. Really, everybody that you come across, that you meet, I can honestly say I've not met a bad person really, because everybody's been so good to you and everybody's been so nice. So Brighton, lovely place, lovely club. And then I moved into non-league and played for Slough Town in the conference. Quite a tough league actually.
Yeah.
And I had a couple of seasons there, which was okay. David Kemp was first manager there.
All right.
When I was there, and then I teamed up again with John. John came in the second year.
Right.
Bob Pearson had sorted everything out for John to come, and John came and sadly only lasted till Christmas, and I took over as player manager. That's which right. Was a really, really difficult job. We'd lost a couple of players. John had gone, and kind of the wheels come off, and I was trying to juggle everything and do everything, coach, manage, play, just about everything that you try. And unfortunately, we got relegated, and that was quite a sad ending, to be honest. It was not the way I'd like to have left, but you know, this is the way it is, and the way it's gone.
Yes.
That's what happens. You don't always get a grand finale. It's nice if you could have a grand finale. The players today can have a grand finale because they're on a lot better money and they can walk away, and at some stage they've got the finances these days, whereas back in the day we didn't have the finance, and there was no help from the PFA, to be fair, on footballers coming out of football with not a great deal of money, which back in the day we was on okay money. We wasn't on the money they are now. So, you know, you have to go to work.
Yeah.
And that's a shock, and it's, you know, rude awakening to somebody who just goes and trains for a couple of hours and then maybe a dozen hours after that, and, you know, 3 or 4 hours a day, and then you have to go back, you know, to the real world. Well, wake up and smell the coffee.
That's it. Yeah. Yeah. So, waking up and smelling the coffee then, where did that take you?
It took me to doing my coaching badge, which I'd done. And I'd done, when I'd left Slough, I was an A licensed coach. There's only one badge after that, and that's the pro license, which is quite a difficult one. So it took me to getting a phone call from a little fella that is a great supporter of Millwall Football Club, and it's Mickey Beard.
Right. Yeah.
And Mick's a great guy, lovely guy. He didn't live at the time. He didn't live too far from me. He lived in Youghal. Yeah. I lived in Epsom Downs, near the racecourse. And Mickey phoned me up and he said, Les, he said, I'd love you to come and do a bit of coaching for me. So, because then it was just coming in the youth side of things would go in academy.
Yeah.
And Millwall was going to get an academy.
Yeah.
So he wanted me to do a few nights at centres and things like that, which was really, really, it was great. We had one in Richmond, which I did with Ian Evans.
Right.
Taff was technical director, I suppose, of that particular section. And I used to coach for Taff on Tuesdays and Thursdays and see some of the players coming through, youngsters going into starting the academy. It was the start of the academy system. And Mick said to me, he said, I'd love you to do a few nights here and then do a few nights at Southwark Park. So I ended up being out about, as well as doing a day's work, I would do a night's work as well. So I'd be out 4 nights, and coaching, working. And that's the road that you go down. And
were there any of those youngsters who came through from your days doing that?
There was 1 or 2 that maybe might have come through, but they didn't quite make it along the way. But yeah, so we'd had a few come through, but nothing that got into the first team kind of thing. It was a building process, very slow building process, and then it got to the stage where it all changed in the academy, and Mick left, and that was a shame because he was good at recruitment. Mick, he would spot a player, which is what it's all about, and he'd bring them in. And as I say, we had some good players that did some half decent things and looked like they were going to develop, but unfortunately, playing youth team players today is not something that's done a lot, I don't think, although we continue to be a success at bringing some youth through. Scott Fitzgerald's done a brilliant job at doing that.
Yeah.
Back in our day, when I was at Chelsea, when I was a kid, Ray Wilkins was brought through, obviously. Ray Lewington brought through. Graham Wilkins played for Millwall, played for Chelsea, and they did well in the youth systems. But unfortunately, like today, they don't blood many players. But yeah, so that's where that kind of ended up, going down the coaching of an evening, working during the day.
I've just stopped you there, Les. Beard and Mark Beard, there's that relationship, isn't there?
Yeah.
Right, that's the bit I wanted.
Father and son.
That's it, the father and son. So, yeah, that sort of ended all that academy work then. And what happened next?
Well, what happened next was I got a job as a visual technician, and built my own company. I've been on a groundsman's course to become a cricket groundsman, which I've been for 20 odd years. Now, as I say, you go to work every day. That's the same old thing. You just got to get up and go to work every day, and it's been okay. Life's very, very good for me currently because I'm full up with work. I've had a business 25, 30 years, which is very good. There's work every day. It's just me, so it's very nice. And we live okay at the moment. I still work at the football club.
Yeah, that's it.
I still work at Millwall in the hospitality section, where I meet, greet, and take people to dinner tables, look after executive boxes, executive lounges. So I'm still around the club, still alive and kicking.
Yeah.
But I'm not kicking many people. but yeah, it's life's pretty good actually.
And of course, you've got this keen relationship with BBC and Millwall iFollows Cole Bates.
Cole's brilliant. He's absolutely brilliant. If ever you want an opinion on a game, he's the man, because he gets it spot on every time. He doesn't ever get it wrong, Carl. When he commentates, he's very good, very precise. And we just have a really good relationship and friendship. He's been brilliant to me. He asked me to come and commentate, and we seem to get on really, really well. And, on air we're good. And Sam Brown comes along every now and again, just to add something different to it. And she's very good. So yeah, I enjoy it. It's really quite good.
And how did you take to co-commentating?
It was Cole, really. He just asked me, and then he asked me again, and then he's coming in next week. Yeah, all right. Yeah, I'll come in next week. Yeah, great. And, our opinions of the game are very similar, and we seem to get on great. And he's just such a nice guy, and he just seems to have this same opinion as me as the game and the way it should be played and run, and we just get on like a house on fire. Brilliant.
Yeah. Well, you certainly both bring, despite having similar views, you both bring different aspects to the commentary as well, and it's great to listen to.
Thank you.
Even though there are challenging times with the technology, as we know, occasionally. But
that's always been a problem. Even when I did it for Dino Standing, when he did and Dino was forever lasting having it. It used to drop out, the connection dropped out, and then Dino would end up cursing, and so it's no different. I think something needs to change, really.
Yeah, something needs to change. Going back to the executive lounge stuff, I mean, I've seen you around there many times over the years. And it must be interesting catching up with the fans and those that remember you, and of course they get the players in, and you've got the, I suppose, larger than life character of Brian Horner's Mine Post in the middle of it all. Just talk us through your sort of experience. I mean, there's not only you there, and there's not only Brian there. There's others that come along. But it seems like a great day. You start off at midday-ish, and it goes on well past the time that the game's over.
Yeah, it's a fantastic day. We try to make it as best we possibly can for everybody that comes to, because not everybody has had the dining experience. We take them on a tour of the stadium, which we take them downstairs. We used to go upstairs, sit in the director's box, and Barry Rowan would chat and give you a little speech and introduce who the people who are looking after you today, your staff, and he'd say funny little comments and just make it a nice general light atmosphere kind of thing. But unfortunately, Barry's left us, or he's gone. And we've had to upgrade what we've been doing. So we've made it somewhere different. We now go down to the dressing room. We have a chat in there for a few minutes because we've got limited time, because Alex Pearce wants the dressing room cleared by a certain time. So we take them down there. We give them a little brief chat, and then we go pitch side, which we never used to do. They wouldn't allow us to go pitch side, but we kind of insisted that we needed to make it better than what it was. It was the same old routine. You go up to the, but now we've jazzed it up. We've had to. We now take them pitch side, which is really good because they can see the stadium actually pitch side rather than just from the stand. So you're actually right by the pitch. We give them a talk. We talk about previous players. We talk about what the GPS does now for people. How good it is for the management, and they can see when players are running out of energy, and you might think he's had a great game today, and you pull him off because the stats say that he's wasted. And it's very good, the technology today, and it works very well. So we've upgraded everything in that respect, and the final visit is we climb the stairs to the interview room where the manager gets interviewed and the press sit, and we put people in the chair. We put people in the manager's chair and ask them to bring an assistant, which is absolutely fabulous. It's gone down a storm. That's the really new part of it. And we fire questions, me and Horney and Wesley Reid fire questions at them like it's a press conference, and we get the people involved. Then we take them downstairs, and they have 3-course dinner, in which there's always some entertainment. Brian Horn gets on the microphone, and he's hilarious, Horny. He's quite funny, and has a chat with people, gets to know people, makes people feel at ease, goes around 1 or 2 tables, and you see 1 or 2 that you've seen before, and they love it when they come back. Yeah. So we make a big fuss of everybody and make sure that they've got everything, and it's well organised as regards when the dinner's coming out and what courses and what they can have, and everybody knows everything. So we make it a fun day. There's a raffle, which is after the game. We generally try and get a player to, we get them to pick their man of the match. They get a vote on that, and we get all the slips in afterwards, and then we go downstairs. And this is the hardest part, is actually getting the man of the match up out of the dressing room.
Really?
It's really hard. It's really difficult because they've been in whatever the situation. They might have had a good game, might have had a bad game, and they might not want to come up. It takes forever to get them. And we do try and get it as quick as possible. We are going to have a chat with Gary because, some of them don't want to come up, but they're going to have to come up because, they've been voted and people want to, see the man of the match. They want to hear. There's a little interview. Horney does brilliant. He interviews them afterwards, and and then
I saw one. I stopped you there. I saw one where he had Bart Bielkowski.
Yeah.
After he made that tremendous save, and the banter between the two of them was quite remarkable.
He's brilliant, Horney. He really is. He's great compare, and Wesley. If Horney's not there, Wesley will do it. Yeah. But one of us will do it. But Horney he's quick on the mark, and he's quite sharp and quite funny. He's a jovial, fun, kind of loving character. But so then that's it, and then hopefully they've had a good day. We wander around the tables and have a quick chat with everybody if we can. Yeah. People book a table because it might be their birthday, so then we all sing happy birthday to them, have a cake. We generally make it the best day that you could possibly have. We take them to places that they'd never see. You'd never go pitch side. No. You can never get pitch side. You can never get in a manager's interview room. No. We want to take them to places that they've never seen in the club and explain to them part of the running of the club. This is how the club runs, and this is what we do. So it's a great dining experience, really, and we just make it a fun day.
And I know from my own experience this year, even for those who do the sponsorship of the players' kits, that's changed.
that's no longer done. That's no longer done in the lounge. That's
right.
done down on the pitch. That's out in the pitch. So a lot of things have changed. And to be fair to Neil Rowe, who's come in and done a very, very good job of selling the hospitality packages. He sells the executive boxes and he sells the packages. They've upgraded the hospitality in the boxes. That's, you know, they've done the boxes up. They put new lighting in. They've decorated some of them and making them look much better. Although you can, if you have a season-on-season box, you can decorate your own box with pictures and things like that. You can do that, and some of them have done it, and they look very, very good. I have to say. But Neil's done an excellent job. He sells the packages, the tables, in the lounge, and he's done an outstanding job since he's been at the club. And he speaks to me on a regular basis. I met up with him the other day in a car park, and we had a brief chat of what he's doing. And you know, he lives in London. So he's a really nice guy, and you know, fair play.
He's not a bad ball boy either.
He said it was a foul by Jake Cooper on Jake Cooper the other day. He said it was a foul because he could see. We couldn't see from where me and Carl were sitting and commentating, but we could see Neil over in the Dockers stand, and he was just like, oh, that was a foul. Yeah, as I say, he's done a really good job.
Yeah, he's a really nice guy. I've spoke to him on a number of occasions. Really good. Fan of the show as well. So, he certainly listens.
He's a good lad.
So, that's where you're at.
Yep.
We know where you've been. And so, in real terms, how do you see the club progressing? Because you're close to the action. There's no doubt about that.
Yeah, I think turnaround for the club was Neil Harris. He got us promoted, and I think that turned the club around really. And unfortunately he's gone, but what a replacement. Gary Rowett, absolutely. You couldn't wish for a better replacement. I think he's outstanding, knows what he wants to do. He's made us solid. I think the chairman has turned the club around as well since he's taken over.
Yeah.
He's done a brilliant job. The board of directors done outstanding. Peter Garston, the fan on the board, who's probably now a board member, I should think. He done an outstanding job as well. I think lots of things have progressed in the last 5 to 10 years. I make no doubt about it. John Berylson, incredible chairman, absolutely. And he's keeping us afloat, to be fair.
Absolutely.
And I don't know what's going to happen when next season starts. The rumour I've heard is it's going to be behind closed doors as well.
Yeah.
At the start, and that's it's going to start like that. I don't know whether in September they'll allow fans back in. They're talking about a small amount of fans, but this stuff is so dangerous. Any gathering or any inside, it's so dangerous, and you've only got to look at the stats of the way the deaths and the new cases have gone up since they've opened pubs. You look at, Scotland and Wales, and I think there was no deaths the other day, and this stuff is dangerous, and it's really taking the grip on the country and taking football. Footballers are, they're missing the crowd and the fans.
Yeah.
Desperately. We're desperate to get back, but you can't say it's got to be safe. Really has.
Yes, and of course there's the fear of the second wave, which is, I think if you look at back in history, such things have happened before, and the second wave does come around. And
that's due. The second wave's due in October, November, they reckon.
That's right.
That's when it's due, and that's bang smack in the kind of in the middle of football and crowds, and I just don't know if there's a way out of this at the moment unless we get a vaccine. It is dangerous. It really is, and there's no way we'll be opening anything on the hospitality side. I can't see it because it transmits inside. It's outside it's airborne a little bit, but if you've got a mask on, but inside, you have to wear a mask because it does travel. You look at the droplets and things like that. It's dangerous stuff, this stuff, and wherever it come from, I wish it would go back because it's ruining sport, and it's not just football. It's ruining some of the other sports. It's just not the same, and there's no crowd, no atmosphere. Games are dreadful, and I've seen other games and teams are suffering, and people are losing money hand over fist, and it's quite shocking.
Yeah. No, it's all we can do is be hopeful, Les, and that's really the bottom line on it.
You just hope and pray that everybody's okay.
Yeah. And I think that brings us to a timely conclusion, because it is without a doubt been exceedingly tough for lots of people. And I know that you know Dean Wilson as much as I do, and who's the undertaker, and I know at times Dean was talking about being 200% plus busier through this period because of what's going on. So it's been great talking to you, and
thank you.
You're so up to date. You're from the past to now. It's a complete picture. And
thank you.
We'd love to speak to you again on the weekly show, and we'll be in touch with that. Perhaps when we review the end of the season, which would be great if you can. Yeah,
Eamonn, it's been lovely. It's been absolutely brilliant, really fantastic. And anything for this club, I'll do anything for this club.
I know you will. Les Briley, it's been great. Thank you.
Thank you. Love you all.
I hope you enjoyed the chat between Les and Eamonn over 3 episodes as much as I did. I must admit, working with Les is one thing, but actually getting to know the man is even better. Really enjoyed it. There will be a new special interview coming along soon. Watch out on social media and speaker.com for further details. If you have someone you might like us to interview, give your reasons on an email addressed to nolutalking@gmail.com. That's NOLUTALKIN without a G. So nolutalking@gmail.com. Thanks for listening, and we will play out for you to practice once again for our final game on Wednesday with the Wall of Sound.